2, 1.
It's time for the Rundown with Rob Sanders.
Well, we're waiting.
Welcome into the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us on the program today. Lots of stuff to get into, but on Tuesday we hear from the coaching staff. Today we'll start with Coach Shane Beamer, who his team will be playing Troy this weekend. The Trojans come to town. They play some Power 5 teams. They went into LSU, picked up a win there not too long ago. So playing on the road is against a Power 5 team is not something that terrifies Troy. And Coach Shane Beamer talked a little bit about that today in his press conference as the Gamecocks will be taking on Troy on Saturday at 3:30 here in Columbia. So here's some comments from the head coach for the Gamecocks.
Really good football team, though. Their program, obviously, you can look around the Sun Belt Conference and see what those teams have done in the last couple years, really throughout their history against Power 5 teams, whether it be Louisiana last year against Iowa State. App State went down to Miami and had every opportunity this year early on. So you look across the Sun Belt, we know what we're getting into, and this is a team that has a transfer quarterback that has SEC experience, a good group of running backs, one of whom was the preseason conference player of the year a couple years ago before he injured his knee, and is still in the rotation. Some size at receiver, and then really what jumps out at these guys is their defense. I mean, when you talk about wreaking havoc, this defense wreaks havoc. 5th in the country in total defense. They're 2nd in the country right now in sacks. They're 4th in the country in tackles for loss. They're one of 4 teams in the entire country that have held 2 opponents this year to less than 190 yards of offense. The other one, or one of the 4 teams, is Georgia. So Georgia and Troy are 2 of the 4 teams in the entire country, along with Iowa State and Western Michigan, who have held 2 opponents to less than 190 yards since 2017. Clemson, Miami, Ohio State, and Troy are top 4 in the country in tackles for loss. So this is a disruptive group. They've held 8 of their last 10 opponents to 21 points or less. Had 9 sacks against Southern Miss earlier this season. To quote Ferris Bueller, 9 times they sacked the Southern Miss quarterback. I mean, that's hard to do, but they're disruptive, and it is not coach speak when I tell you this is one of the hardest playing defenses I have ever seen. That's not me trying to make them sound great. They play their rear ends off and play with great effort, and the stats reflect that. So we've got a big challenge on Saturday afternoon against Troy. Should be a great matchup, and our guys, we got off to a great start today in practice. Are coming back off the game on Saturday, Sunday night, and then our guys were off yesterday. Great practice this morning, tons of energy. Like the way our guys are working. As we've stressed to our team, we've got to continue to get better each and every week. Not happy with the performance Saturday night against Kentucky at all, in all 3 phases. And coaching certainly has to be better. But the real travesty in this whole situation would be if we didn't get better as a football team. We are 2-2. It is still September. The sky is not falling. We have to play better. We have to coach better. We've lost to 2 undefeated teams that are good veteran football teams, and we got a great opportunity this week to bounce back. We got a bunch of fighters on our football team that are staying together. We had a fantastic practice this morning, and we're excited to get back out there on Saturday afternoon and compete. That's what we love to do in this program, is compete. And last week's behind us. We've learned from it, and players and coaches, and we've got to be better this Saturday and continue to get better each and every week. I told you guys, when you guys asked me over the summertime and in preseason, what's a successful season? My answer was always maximize the potential and the ability of this football team, and that's still the case. And I don't put a win-loss record on it. I don't go in before the season and pencil in what games I think are going to be W's and L's. I expect to win every single football game, and I'm hurting and as disappointed as anybody that we're not 4-0 right now. But our job to maximize the ability of this team is to continue to get better, and that's what we're doing.
South Carolina coach Shane Beamer as his team will take on Troy this weekend. A couple other notes from the press conference. He was asked about Luke Doty. Is he well enough to play? He said he's tough as hell. Is he able to run as fast as he's capable without a foot issue? And he said no. He's continuing to get better and get healthy, but he's not far off. He says they'll continue to open things up as he gets healthier. So there's that with the Gamecocks. He also said the run game hasn't been good enough. They're not hitting their goal of yards per carry. They're not blowing things up. Had good runs called against Kentucky, but some details with the execution were not there. He also said Doty has played well the last couple of games, giving them a chance to win in those games, but hasn't been perfect, made some bad throws. But he's tough as nails, and they have to continue to coach him and get him better. He is pleased with the defense creating turnovers. Did not do a good job of stopping the run against Kentucky and couldn't stop the Wildcats on the last two drives when they needed the ball. Yeah, I hate to break it to Coach Beamer, and I think he probably knows this. But the reality is that that defense was wore out. The reason that Chris Rodriguez was carrying linemen in the fourth quarter is because he had 26 carries, and they were just wore out. So, yeah, there's that. South Carolina, a 9-point favorite against Troy. He talked up Troy like they're great. Yeah, they do get to the passer. They lost to Louisiana Monroe. Let's slow down for a minute, okay? This is not a juggernaut team coming in here this weekend. Now, on the same front, though, the problem is that South Carolina, they have to take every opponent seriously because of a couple of things. One is depth issues. After your first string, you are subpar at a lot of spots for the Gamecocks, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And so you can't just say, hey, we're an SEC team. We're going to roll the ball out there and we're going to win. So there's that. Also, Troy's not intimidated coming in here. With that, though, South Carolina should win the game this weekend. I'm not sure if they're going to cover the number or not, but they should win the matchup here in Columbia this weekend. All right, let's pivot to Clemson for a moment. Coach Dabo Swinney previewed the Clemson-Boston College game, and it was a different kind of press conference for Coach Swinney. It's like the first time in September in like 7 years that I think he knows going in, your team is not making the college football playoff. And his tone was a little bit different. We'll give you some of those comments right now from Coach Swinney as his team sets up to take on Boston College this weekend.
BC is another big challenge for us as we keep moving forward here. They're honestly a lot like NC State, one of the more experienced teams out there, a very, very veteran group on both sides of the ball, 17 starters coming back. I think they had 6 or 7 all ACC guys in that group. So a lot of experience. They're 4-0. They're very confident. And they're playing really good football. They're executing very well. And again, I think that's a reflection of, the experience and the veteran players that they have. Defensively, very experienced group. They've scored a couple times already this year. Really good on third down and stingy on third down. They know their scheme well. They execute their scheme well. They fly to the ball. Again, a lot like the bunch we just played. And, so a really, really tough challenge there. Offensively, got 9 starters back, got every offensive lineman back. I think a couple of them are All-American candidates. That's where it starts for them. A very physical bunch, well-coached, downhill group. And, they do a great job with their scheme. And really, scheming you up and playing to their strengths. They're a run, play action, boot team, a lot of motions and shifts, and do a really nice job. Number 4 is one of the best guys in the country. He is a great football player, play for anybody. Do a great job of getting, their there are other guys involved as well, tight ends in play action, boots and layered routes, getting the quarterback outside the pocket. Obviously, their starter got hurt, but this kid has played a lot of football. He's one of the more experienced backups in the country. He's played against us. He's a senior that's been around there a long time and a really good player. He's a better runner than you'd like for him to be. He throws the ball well. He's competitive. He really knows what they're doing. They love to get him outside the pocket, and a lot of those boots are kind of like built-in scrambles. He comes to run and does a good job protecting the ball for him. But good football player. Got 3 big backs, downhill guys. Levy's also their returner. He's taking one of the house. He's got a 60-yard return, so he's been dangerous back there in the return game. Tight ends are big, strong guys. So this is a good football team across the board. One of their kickers got hurt in camp, but punter's a good player. He's got a big average. So it's it's almost a mirror image of what we saw last week from a veteran, knowledge, experience standpoint. Different in some of the schemes that they run, but very, very experienced, very confident group, and they'll be confident coming in here. We had a tough fight with them last year. They were up, turned the ball over, did not play well defensively early, and then did a great job in the second half, coming back and winning the game. So looking forward to it. Going to be a great matchup, and we're going to have to play a lot better than we've played last week.
Yeah, well, he's right. A lot of times coaches will come out and they'll say things like, yeah, we've got to play better and we've got to do this and we've got to do that. The reality is that if the Clemson offense doesn't have some sort of a spark, they are going to they can lose this game. They could lose the game to Wake Forest. There are at least, I think I looked at it, there's like 4 games on the schedule that Clemson could lose if the offense doesn't get off its butt and start producing. Uiagalelei hasn't thrown for 200 yards yet this season. If I would have told you that at the beginning of the year, that by game 4, DJ Uiagalelei would not have over 200 yards passing in one game, you would have laughed at me. You would have absolutely laughed at me. In addition to that, okay, he's not throwing the ball. Well, the running game's not working either. And I think that, what was it? Shipley had like 38 yards rushing last week, some ridiculous number like that. He's not playing this week. So a couple of notes about that. Of course, they lost Lynn J. Dixon to the transfer portal. Will Shipley is hurt. Swinney said Maffa can play, which is one of the freshman running back they've got. He says, we're going to try to hold him, but now we'll cut him loose. And we've got 4 guys, more than most people. It's an opportunity for guys like Michael Dukes. So we'll see how that rolls out there for Coach Swinney and Clemson. He says that September, quote, stunk, adding that his team has an 8-game season starting Saturday versus Boston College. Look, Boston College, by the way, I watched 3 of their games. I did not watch their game against Colgate. It's hard for me to watch a game when you play a toothpaste. I mean, are they going to play Crest later on in the season? I don't know. But they beat the snot out of Colgate. I'm not going to watch that. The other 3 games I did watch, they had some issues with Temple. I think they won by 17. The game with Mizzou is, when you look at that, Connor Bazelak was able to throw the ball. They were able to run the ball a good bit with Beatty, Tyler Beatty, who's a guy that's going to give the Gamecocks a lot of grief when they go up to Como later this season. But it comes down to this with Clemson. They're going to have to figure out how to get a push on the offensive line and start moving the ball. Now, the defense this week is going to be different. You're not going to have Brian Brzee there. The all-world defensive tackle is not going to be there. You're not going to have Tyler Davis. He was out last week. So your 2 starting defensive tackles are gone. But unlike some folks who want to moan and groan and complain. That's why you have depth. Okay? You can sit there and act like some people, well, we lost this and we lost that. It's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have depth. You're supposed to have guys that can go in and do what they're supposed to do and back these guys up. So what Clemson's going to do at defensive tackle this week is going to be interesting too, because that Boston College offensive line is silly good. They've got, I think, 4 seniors, all the starters returning. They do shuffle some guys in and out, but they are a veteran offensive line, typical Boston College team in that they're going to line up and try to smash you in the face. Grizel, their quarterback who took over for Phil Dracovic, the Notre Dame transfer, is a guy that is a game manager. That's what you're going to get. So that's the breakdown there for the stuff with Clemson and South Carolina this weekend. South Carolina was a 9-point favorite to start at the start of the week. According to Las Vegas, Clemson is a 15.5-point favorite. So we'll see how that works out there. Some comments from the chat room, and you're welcome to join the show at 803-978-1832. Jerome says, I have a feeling it's going to get worse for Clemson. Injuries on that defense are going to mount. Same with South Carolina. Brock says Clemson is a 15-point favorite is criminal. BC will cover and may win. Clemson has not covered yet all year. Let's see here. Brandon says Dabo said they were moving Justin Foster inside. We'll see how that works out. You know, you would think that they would move Xavier Thomas inside, being that he's a little bit of a bigger guy. But I'm not coaching. There you go with all that. All right, so we'll take your calls at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. There are a couple other little things we want to get out here today, including some conference realignment news. We'll get into that when we come back. Also, we'll look at some of the biggest winners and losers from the early part of the season. We'll have that for you here on the rundown this afternoon, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I appreciate folks that have been downloading the podcast. If you have the time, you can go and download it, listen to it whenever you want. If you miss some of the show, it's okay. It's like DVR on the radio, man. Listen whenever you want. Look for the Rundown with Rob on your iTunes, Spreaker, the iHeartRadio app, however it is you get your favorite podcast. More of the Rundown we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Dabo got the wrong vaccine. Hey, B-Red, that's funny. That is pretty funny. Yeah, go Bucks. The standings are on the website, robandkaleshow.com. You can go and check them out there. Begging Megan's funny. We should take a bet on that there, Begging Megan. Because I don't think Clemson's losing to South Carolina this year. Yeah, if you just go there, you can see the standings. I update them Saturday night after all the games are over. So, you know, normally I would give that out later in the week, but hold on, let me answer the phone here. Rundown, this is Rob.
Excellent health plans, profit sharing, and 401k plan for all employees.
So start carrying your future today and explore career opportunities at FNAmerica.com/careers.
At Lowe's, we know that when it comes to pros, the more options you can offer your customers, the better. That's why our showroom is built with pros in mind. With a wide variety of exclusive brands like Stainmaster Carpets, Procore Plus Vinyl, and Virgo Laminate. Get the job lot quantities you need at the everyday low prices you want. It's one more reason why Lowe's is the new home for pros.
High prices don't get you a great network. A great network gets you a great network. It's why Total Wireless runs the largest, most dependable network, now with 5G. And for a limited time, we're doubling your high-speed data on our $35 unlimited plan, from 5 gigs to 10. So you can double your binging, your scrolling, your everything. Total Wireless, do amazing.
As far as the BC game with Clemson, I want to think the offense is going to get right. And whenever I see a line in Las Vegas and it's that many points, I think Vegas knows something that we don't. So there's that. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. Out to the phones we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Rob, you had a Gator fan call yesterday. He's from South Carolina, from what I understand. Am I correct?
I believe so, sir.
I don't. Does low country equal low IQ?
Well, we're kind of in the Midlands, but I mean he's I don't know if he's from the Low Country or not, but
well, either way, he doesn't have future Jeopardy champion written all over him. If you know what I mean? This guy, I don't know what's more concerning, his grip on the English language or his grip of reality. To call out Georgia as a Florida fan, Georgia's won the last 3 out of 4. It will be 4 out of 5 in Jacksonville this year. Anybody with half a brain, which I know excludes him, but still, anybody looks at these two teams and thinks that Florida's going to go into Jacksonville and beat Georgia is out of their gourd. Now, if Georgia has their typical luck and they wind up starting Stetson Bennett because JT Daniels gets hit by a train, then they're going to win that game. But outside of that, that's the only way. And I'm just telling the guy because I know he's not all that bright. Go ahead and temper your expectations now. I don't want to see you crying. I don't want to see you hurt that bad.
Hey, can I ask you a real question about the quarterback stuff at Georgia? And I'm not picking at you, but
yeah.
Do you believe that JT Daniels is 100%? I mean,
right now.
That's and I know Georgia fans get pissy with me, but the reality is that as much as I give Smart grief, but as much as he's put Stetson Bennett out there, I questioned the total health of JT Daniels right now.
Yeah, I have no doubt that he's not healthy. They pull him the first chance they get. As soon as the game appears to be slightly in hand, he's gone. It's clear they're really trying to limit his reps.
Why is it that people are going to think I'm being silly here again, but why can't some of the other quarterbacks get reps?
My question is, how bad does Beck have to stink that Stetson Bennett is taking the number 2 spot?
Well, isn't the guy behind Beck supposedly a 5-star all-world guy too?
He is. He's a true freshman, but yeah,
right.
He's a 5-star. He's probably actually a better runner than Stetson even is, and he's got the strongest arm on the team. So, unless they came in there with a rock solid plan to redshirt this guy, which I'm not a fan of in the age of the transfer portal,
right?
I think redshirts. If you're a head coach, just forget about redshirting. If you're trying to think that far ahead, you're shooting yourself in the foot with the way the transfer portal is now. Well,
and I wanted to ask that because I don't understand Stetson Bennett going out there, especially if Daniels is healthy. But you're up 62-0 on Vanderbilt, and I think finally Beck gets in there, and it's like he should have been playing in the third quarter and getting snaps then.
Yeah, I've got to believe that they don't like some of the things they're seeing in practice from Beck. I really do.
Well, he may end up in the transfer portal then down the line. That's kind of the way things go right now.
Yeah, and I don't know that would be a bad thing for Georgia. I really don't. If Vandergrift comes along, if he's developing. So
we'll see on that. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I feel bad for that Florida fan. I don't want to see him crushed. Just go ahead and get used to it now. We lead the series. Like I said, we won 3 out of 4. You act like you're dominating this thing, and it's not how it's happening. So, anyway, hey Rob, 43 and 18.
You have a great day, sir. Thank you for calling. All right, let's go back out to the phones one more time here. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
I've been waiting on that Megan to call. I am from Jacksonville, Florida. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not in South Carolina.
Hold on now. There's no need to yell, sir. How are you today?
Okay. I just want to know. My name is Hollywood.
Okay, Hollywood.
Well known in the Midlands on the radio.
All right. Okay.
And we will take care of Georgia.
Okay. Well, I mean, hey, you're telling everybody you're from Jacksonville. You're not from the Midlands. Got it.
No doubt.
All right.
So
well,
I know that Megan. I've been chasing him for years.
All right. Well, let me ask you this: what makes you think that you can match up with that Georgia defense, which is rock solid?
We will take care of Georgia.
But you got to be able to tell me why you think you can score on the Georgia defense when
we will score on them. They ain't played nobody yet. Who they play? Who have Georgia played?
Oh goodness, sir.
Who have they played?
They've played Clemson, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and
nobody.
I got
nobody.
Through the. Wait a minute. Who's Florida played that's worth a damn? You played Alabama and lost.
Yeah, we scored on them too.
So what?
That's over.
Is that like a moral victory?
We don't look back. We look ahead, baby. We look ahead.
Well, that's fine, man. We'll get you the moral victory trophy. I hear it's in the shape of.
I want no moral victory trophy.
Well, that's
I'm going to be Georgia.
Well, so Georgia's your Super Bowl then, right?
No. We'll be in Atlanta.
Okay.
Matching up against Alabama again.
Well, we'll see how that works out because Alabama may not get there.
Hey, we'll see about that.
Well, I appreciate you calling, man. And now we know you're from Jacksonville. Okay.
That's right.
Well, thanks for calling the show, buddy. I appreciate it.
No doubt.
All right. The big thing with that is that Florida fans, and I've seen this a lot on my social media feed, and the couple that I know in person, we're just beating Georgia. They can't tell you why they're beating Georgia. If we're going to have a realistic conversation about, hey, we can match up with Georgia, who has a championship caliber defense, explain to me how you can beat them. I don't think that's that far-fetched. We're going to beat Georgia because we can do this. Well, what is it? If you come at me with what Beamer and Megan said, who normally spews a bunch of nonsense, but what he said today made a lot of sense. If Stetson Bennett ends up being the quarterback out there because JT Daniels is hurt and they have to roll with Stetson Bennett, yeah. If I'm a Florida fan and I could say that and say, you know what, we've got Stetson Bennett's number, they're going to put him out there. We knocked him out of the game last season. They ended up having to play some guy from the parking lot. That's how we're going to win. I can almost buy that. But when you ask, what are you going to do against that Georgia defense in Jacksonville? You get absolutely nothing. Nothing. I'm waiting on that. And they ask who's Georgia played. Who has Florida played? I mean, let's just be realistic here. Who has Florida played? Yes, they played Alabama at home and they lost. We don't deal in moral victories. We almost beat them. Dabo Swinney was saying something, what was it, in his press conference on Sunday night? Well, we're just a couple of plays from being 4-0. Get the hell out of here with that. You lost. You are a 2-2 team. Florida's what, a 3-1 team? I don't understand, man. I don't get all that. You're welcome to call the show and say, hey, my team's going to do this. But when we ask you, how are you going to do it? Tell me how. Maybe I'll learn something. Appreciate Hollywood calling the program as well as Beg and Megan. You can join the show at 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial. Also, we'll talk about some conference realignment, how that's coming about. We'll get into that and a lot more here on the rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Is it too much to ask how you're going to win? Y'all, am I being mean here? How are you going to do it? I don't get it. Rundown, this is Rob. We had a big meeting today about our delay system because apparently we've had a couple of people that have tested the delay, which is kind of funny. We've bumped the delay up. It's normally 7 seconds before it goes on the air, but now we're up to 10 seconds. So I'm going to refer to the delay as the Beg and Megan system because he's the first one to test it. And someone else was dropping language the other day. I'm surprised that I haven't had to dump myself because I say stupid stuff all the time. Hey, what's your first name? Hello. I've had to dump myself before because I told somebody to F off. Look, I don't know, but you guys heard him. He said that they're winning. I don't get it. That's funny. Go Bucks with the win. There's a part of me that wants Kentucky to win this weekend so the Florida fans can just stick it. But then we got to hear from the Kentucky fans. I was hoping for a tie. I'm in some ACC group on Facebook, and NC State fans are you can't talk to them right now. They're hilarious. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Out to the phones we go. Blake, welcome into the program, sir.
Hey, Rob.
What's up, buddy?
Man, these Florida fans are a trip.
They are a very special bunch. I think a lot of Florida fans still think that Tim Tebow is there and the band of murderers and crime, guys that are knee deep in crime and Urban Meyer's still there. I mean, they've had some good teams, but let's just be honest. Last year's team was pretty good, won the East, gave Alabama a little bit of grief in the SEC championship game, but it's not like they're consistently great. So there's that.
Yeah, I know it. I think Florida, they're going to get a preview of what's going to happen to them when Georgia plays this weekend when Georgia faces Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas has a better quarterback. He's mobile just like Emory Jones. They have a better running game, and Arkansas is a better team. And I really honestly think the point spread is about right on. I really think we're going to beat Arkansas between 18 to 21 points. So I think it'll be a good showing.
I think that I like Georgia to win this weekend, but I wonder if Kentucky can. They run the ball and everybody else. If they're going to have everybody up there at the flying grocery store, knocking some heads around and everything else, and running the ball, and they could theoretically keep Florida off the field on the offensive side and maybe win that game up there.
at the beginning of the Florida and Tennessee game, I mean, it was a pretty good game. You know, Tennessee missed some opportunities, so we'll see. I don't know. I'm cheering for the old Kentucky Wildcats this weekend. Sure.
Kentucky's like Switzerland. Everybody loves Kentucky just because they don't really. I'm serious. It's like if you're not playing them, you're like, you know what? I like Coach Stoops. He looks like a guy you could have a beer with, and they play old school football and defense, and you could sit there and think, you know what? Why let them win some games as long as they don't knock my team out. That's fine. But I do like Rodriguez. He's kind of a punishing back, and it'll be interesting. They're an 8-point dog at home this weekend, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, well, Temple, all right, man. Well, hopefully your Clemson Tigers can get it back together. But all right, I'll let you go.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for calling the program. All right, out to the phones one more time. Here we go. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, it's George. How you doing?
George, what can I do for you, sir?
I know how Florida is going to beat Georgia.
All right. Well, are you a Florida fan? You can explain it to me because Hollywood just
yes,
he just told me it's just gonna happen. We're just gonna win, and we're beating Georgia down in Jacksonville. I mean, do you have a realistic thing that you can tell me? This is why Florida is going to beat Georgia.
I can tell you and show you. It's exactly the same way we're going to beat Kentucky. Okay. Kentucky's got a massive offensive line, great running backs, good defense. They're a real team, good passer. They've had more 20-yard strikes throwing the ball than anybody. Probably they're better than Georgia throwing the ball. So watch the Kentucky game, and you'll see how we're going to beat Georgia. We're going to beat them by scoring at least one more point than the other team. That's how we win. We score more points than you.
Yeah, we're going to put more points on the board. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
It's simple. I only want to win by one. I don't care what the point split is or none of that. I just want to win by one all year long.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling the show, George. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
One more call before we get out of here. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon, Rob. This is Bobby and Casey. How are you today?
Hey, Bobby. What's up?
Okay. Not siding with anybody in the Georgia-Florida argument. This game coming up on October 30th. A national talk show host guest earlier today brought up the fact that Wisconsin and Notre Dame, and also this week, Cincinnati and Notre Dame, they both played Notre Dame coming out of a bye week. And it's college football teams have lousy records coming out of a bye week. So for both sides of the argument, your fans from Florida, Georgia, they're calling up, fussing at you disrespectfully, by the way, yelling at you. They both have a bye week on October 23rd before their October 30th game.
I think that's the way the SEC sets up the schedule pretty much every year. I think that there's always generally a bye week before that matchup in Jacksonville. I could be wrong.
Well, yeah, but see, it's even Steven, I would say, and it is neutral site. It's just something to keep in mind that both teams, are going to rest up the week before the big game, no matter what happens. You can't really say a trap game happened on the previous week. They're both off on the 23rd. They both played each other on the 30th. So it's for all the people railing there, somebody's going to beat up somebody's behind or whatever you want to say. This is going to be an even Steven game on the field. I seriously believe it coming out of a bye week, because teams that have a bye week in October and November have excellent records. So you can see I'm a Hurricane fan, so I got my own problems. So I just thought I'd add that to your show. Have a good day, Rob. Thank you for letting me sermonize.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling the program. 803-978-1832. Look, George said that the way that Florida is going to beat Georgia is they're going to score one more point than Georgia is. How about give me something else there, Florida fans? I'm waiting on something else. Alabama fans would call up and say, you know what? Bryce Young is going to connect with his receivers across the field with slant routes, and we're going to soften them up with screen passes, and that's going to neutralize the Georgia defensive line, and we're going to put the game in the hands of the Georgia secondary and make them have to make big plays. That's what an Alabama fan would say to you. Florida fans, on the other hand, we're going to score one more point than they do. Yeah, that we're going to score one more point than Georgia does. All right. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, if you're a Florida fan or anyone else that can explain to me how they can compete with that Georgia defense, not necessarily the Georgia offense, because I think the Georgia offense is suspect, but the Georgia defense, I would like to hear it. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Couple of Florida fans today gave me something, but not anything that's completely valid. 803-978-1832. We got to talk conference realignment. There's a story on that. Some biggest winners and losers early in the season here. Comment from Beg and Megan online. Rob, in 2017, a Florida player said, Georgia isn't a team we lose to. It was 42-7 Georgia that year. Okay. I'm just talking about this year. I want someone to tell me how you're going to score on that Georgia offense. On the Georgia defense. Because they've made a believer out of me. They are solid. Number 99, I don't know how. I give Kirby Smart grief, but you know what? He managed to convince number 99 to stay in college when he should be starting for the Carolina Panthers right now. Or, I don't know, my Green Bay Packers. One or the other, who need a run-stopping defensive lineman. But they convinced him to stay at Georgia. There's that. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you want to join us here on The Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. EJ Williams spit in the guy's face and he should be suspended. I don't know why that hasn't been addressed yet. I didn't get to go to Dabo Swinney's press conference today, but why somebody didn't ask about that, I don't know. So, South Carolina, I agree with you, sir. Florida may lose this weekend, and then that game in Jacksonville is not going to mean anything. I think Kentucky getting 8 points at home is a pretty solid bet. I agree with you. You spit on me, we fighting. I don't care if you 6'8". We're gonna fight. You gonna feel me the next day. I'm gonna kick you in the face. I get paid to do this, Caden, so don't get pissy with me because your life choices suck and you chose to not do this. That's a valid question, Uncle Lou. I don't know why he's 2-20 against top 10 teams. That's a very valid question. I'm still wondering how he lost to LSU last season. I mean, Ed Orgeron was basically checked out, told the team, yeah, you're not going to a bowl game, and they lost that game. How did he lose that game? That could that could be the case there, Uncle Lou. Could be the case. The Florida fans, though, still can't tell me how they can win that game. Still can't tell me how they can win it. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. Stepping into the studio is Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk. He is the czar of Clemson Sports. He is going to be joining. He's actually going to be in studio today. He has left Castle de Swan. He's walked in here with his, he's wearing his nightly clothes. He's got his face all covered up. Lawton, what's up, brother?
What'd you guys do to the place while I was gone, bro?
Look, you're over there at your house hanging out with alligators and everything else with a moat. By the way, 1 second before I chat with you, we're still looking for a Florida fan that can tell me how you're going to score on the Georgia defense. You will move to the front of the line, 803-978-1832. Don't just call and tell me we're going to beat Georgia because we're going to score one more point than they are, or we're just going to beat Georgia. Tell me how you're going to score on the Georgia defense. 803-978-1832. Shout out to Uncle Lou watching the program. Says, any idea why Mullen is like 2-20 against top 10 teams? Very valid, sir. maybe Dan Mullen's not that good. That's another comment from Uncle Lou. So thanks for joining the show today. And of course, you can join the show too at 803-978-1832. Lawton, did you catch Dabo Swinney's press conference today?
I've heard a little bit of it, but not all of it. No, I didn't. I mean, in betwixt here in the house, not much time to catch all of it.
He is. He sounds a little whiny, sir. That's the only term that I can really use there.
It might be fair. I mean, Clemson's 2-2. It's been a long time, Rob. It's a Normalsville, as I like to call it now. Welcome back, Tiger fans, from being in the elite category of college football for at least a season.
Well, when you look at the Clemson schedule, one of the projections, the bowl projections, had Clemson playing in the Gator Bowl. That's just something that just doesn't look like you would normally see. And I'm hanging my hat on this is the worst Clemson team in the past 7 years.
You know, I think it's still a talented group. What's been surprising to me is the lack of creativity offensively. And look, I'm undefeated. I'm also winless as an offensive coordinator. But when I watch that team, you know what it feels like, Rob? It feels stagnant offensively. It doesn't feel fresh. Like when I tune in and watch Ole Miss, or when I tune in and watch Oregon or Ohio State, dude, I feel like I'm watching teams that have progressed offensively. I compare Clemson to the Redcoats. I kind of think that's the way it was. I think that's the way it's been. I think they thought they'd march into the battlefield. They'd line up in the line and they'd win every battle in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and then they'd open up the floodgates offensively in the postseason. And unfortunately, minus the number one pick in the draft, minus another first-round pick in Travis Etienne, you kind of see that this team's got some issues, and it has not worked out well.
Well, you know, when I look at this team, I think like I remember Lowell the intern. He's no longer an intern. I think he's graduated and is doing bigger things now. But
yeah, the producer extraordinaire.
Right. But Lowell pointed out, I think it was 3 seasons ago, that you could pick South Carolina's plays out by how the quarterback set up or step on the way his feet were moving or whatever.
That's accurate.
With Clemson, it's kind of the same thing. Run, slant to the X. Hopefully you convert, punt. That's the Clemson offense right now.
Well, that, and look, if there was any bit of creativity in that game, it came at one point in the third quarter where Clemson had 6 plays, and I think the 5th of the 6th play was Will Taylor at quarterback flanking out DJ Uyunglele. Look, that's a great play if we're moving the ball and we're going to try to hit you with something and kind of surprise you. But when we're struggling to get first downs, if you're struggling to get first downs at that point, to me, getting cutesy is no different than what you used to have happen with Chad Morris when they were taking on South Carolina and you had Sammy Watkins throw a tailback pass when it's not necessary.
Well, I also think at the end of the NC State game, it seemed like Uyunglele and running game were, with his feet, and the rest of the running game was actually moving the ball on NC State. And then they throw that the long pass on 4th and 5, and it's like, what are you doing?
The 3rd and 5 and the 4th and 5 play call. The 3rd and 5 play call should have been a run because you got 4 downs, right? So that gives you a 3rd and 2. Instead, it looked like they might be trying to run DJ, but the defender's at his feet in a second, and he just heaves the ball to the back of the end zone. And then the 4th down play call, you got me. Why is DJ not rolling the pocket? Why is that not a play where you give him a chance to check down to maybe a tight end that's coming across with him? maybe run for 5 yards if DJ can't run somebody over and you lose the game that way. Great. Putting the ball in the right spot, I don't think Justin Ross could see it.
I don't know. The Clemson offense is just not very good. Not very good right now. And with Boston College coming in this week, a team that likes to control the pace a little bit, big offensive line, 4 running backs that they get carries to, and Grizel, a game manager. If Clemson doesn't have their stuff together, they could lose that 31 game home winning streak at home this weekend.
Look, the fact that they were favored by 15 points out of the gate was shocking. They haven't scored 15 points in a Power 5 ball game in regulation this season.
Yeah, it's but see, something in Las Vegas, they always it's like they know something we don't. Clemson may come out and score 60 points this weekend. You never know.
And if it happened, you wouldn't be totally surprised. You'd go, well, that's what we've expected.
Yeah, that's what we've expected all season. They've got 5-star talent everywhere. Of course they're going to score 60 points. I mean, Mizzou put up, 34? So why wouldn't Clemson put up 34, 35?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of the hardest teams to figure out this season. I think the Clemson defense is going to be a little bit different without those 2 studs at defensive tackle. So we're going to have to test that old Clemson depth there and see what Coach Venables is going to put out there to help stop the running game for Boston College.
Well, look, I can assure you Venables has got to be just chomping at the bit given how good they've played, and yet they're a team with 2 losses. I mean, how frustrating must that be for him?
Well, and guys like Skalski, who it's his last season, who goes out on his shield, it seems like every game. You can tell that the 2-2 start is not what he thought was going to happen either. What have you got planned for folks today on the award-winning Clemson Sports Talk program?
Well, we won some awards.
Yeah, you've got several awards.
They sent them here.
They're over there on the bookcase.
Dude, how come you didn't text me?
Because you don't want to leave your house. You're afraid you're going to come here and get the Delta variant.
No, man. I tell you, it saves me. It gives me about 45 minutes extra with my family, with my schedule. I love it. That's true.
Lawton used to come in here and licking the doorknobs and everything else. Now he's like, I ain't getting the Delta variant from you,
Rob,
guys.
man. I'm glad to be hanging out with you, though, brother.
Well, what do you got planned for the show today?
Dude, we're just going to be diving through some of what Dabo Swinney had to say, obviously, and again, getting into some of the things from yesterday, including Tony Elliott and Brent Venables. So, for Clemson Tiger fans, I tell you what, it is a weird feeling. And you texted me. You said, Swanee, it's a strange feeling.
Very strange.
It's true.
Yeah, it's very weird with Clemson at 2-2. But the most digital content for Clemson is at ClemsonSportsTalk.com. And, of course, Lawton will be up at Death Valley this weekend.
Can you play the Stop Looking at Me Swan thing with me?
Oh,
here?
yeah. I actually have it here somewhere. What did I do with it?
I hear it every day.
I know, right? It works every day. Hold on. What did I do with it? I've got it somewhere.
Tell me we got time.
Yeah, we've got time. I don't know what I did with it, but I've got it somewhere.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Yeah, it's like a trademark bit now. There we go. Here it is. There we go.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
People text that to me, Rob.
They do?
Yes.
I think I put that together because I thought it was funny.
It's hilarious.
All right. Well, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Lawton Swan, who wants to be the mayor in Columbia, even though
get your votes in early.
Yeah. You could probably win if you put out there. Anyway, check him out at Clemson Sports on Twitter and follow his show from 4 to 6. iHeartRadio app. Podcasts are up all over the place. He'll have that for you this afternoon. Tomorrow on the program, we've got some folks coming in that cover Boston College. Also, we're going to look at a beat writer for Troy for the Gamecocks. So got all that for you this week. And, of course, picks on Friday. More of the rundown tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. All right. Appreciate you guys, man. We'll see you later on. Thanks a lot.